Hi everybody, BiIl Huddleston back here this week with head coach Rafe Watkins talking Rougher football, and there's no better way to start in the district race. You were 1-0, now you're 2-0, and that's exactly where you wanted to be.
Yeah, and we got our 15-plus points because, you know, this thing could still end up crazy. You hope not. As long as you keep winning, it's not. But couldn't be more proud of our young men. We've always said Sand Springs is one of our most physical challenges that we play each year. Going over there for a second year in a row and getting our second win was huge for us. And just the way we were able to do it, you know, they started off 3 plays or 4 and they were in the end zone. We drive down, score 1 play, they're in the end zone, and our kids never gave up. They just kept fighting. And finally, I'm really proud of my coaches and then the kids for executing at halftime the changes and the stuff that we made, especially offensively. You know, we didn't do a whole lot in the second quarter. It was 17-14 at the end of the first. It looked like it was going to be a shootout. Then things kind of slowed down. We're down 21-17 at half, but come out the second half, and in that fourth quarter, you know, our line, we've been kind of retooling it around. And the running back of Jimmy and Ty had a great game also. You know, Jimmy had 206 yards, Ty had 143, and we also threw for over 100 for the first time of the year. And I was just really proud of how they come out. The wide receivers blocked extremely well. We challenged them at halftime, and they come out and accepted the challenge. And I think you saw us grow up a lot in the second half of that game the other night.
Well, certainly it became a physical war in that second half, and the offense and defense did its job. Coach, you're right. It did kind of start off kind of like a heavyweight boxing match. Just everybody trading right hooks 1 for 1. But let's take a look back at last Friday night's ball game and go to our video and check in on some of the highlights from last week's game.
I think this is our first play from line of scrimmage, and Jimmy takes it about 23 yards. And again, Jimmy just, you know, we couldn't ask for a whole lot more out of a young man. He don't have to have a whole lot. If you'll see some of the cracks that he gets through. Again, Ty ran extremely hard, a lot like he did, we felt like, in the McAllister game, the first one of the year. It was good to get that guy back. We got BiIl back off of the ankle injury for 2 weeks and got him in. Look, up top, you know, see Ashley up there, Connor Ashley blocking, and then we just got it was an overall team effort of how we was able to go. Counterplay by Jimmy getting in there on 3rd down and 4, and just, you know, again, doing little things right.
This is turning nothing into something here.
Yeah. Now this, again, Ty's a great athlete. You know, he ran so hard and strong, and then I was really proud of the way he was able to throw the ball. He's 13 for 18 and had 2 drops. This big play, this gets us to 14-9 with the safety. I tell you, I've never seen, we've not gone, you know, 5 and 6 years without even seeing a safety. And other than the McAllister game, there's been a safety in every game, and of course 2 of them in one game. So Jimmy comes up here. This puts us up 17-14 because we have a bad snap on our extra point, and Connor was able to run it in right here.
Again, that's just making something out of nothing, but it turned out to be positive, and the point's obviously big.
It's just, well, a lot of these were effort plays. You know, it was blocked well and stuff, but there was a lot of effort into it as well. I think here's where Jimmy, and I want you to look, and here's where I was proud of Ty. He's downfield blocking. It went out of the way, and our quarterback's leading down blocking, trying the whole way. And that's right before halftime.
Halftime score was 21-17. You didn't know what the Sandites would do, but you knew what your defense could do.
Here's another young man that was one of the players of the game, Josh Campbell. Josh is a corner by nature, and we had to bring him in because of injuries that we've had. We finally get Webb back this week, but we had to have somebody in that position, and Josh's motor just runs constantly. He's one of the fastest kids on the team, had a great offseason. Here's a little swing pass out to Jimmy. Jimmy also had 48 yards receiving on 3 receptions.
I'm impressed, Coach, how he keeps his feet right on the sideline but doesn't go out of bounds.
He's got great balance and vision. You know, we're getting better. We're still not where we want to be, obviously, but I was really proud of the effort that we gave the other night.
Well, when you put Coleman in motion, they're going to go with him, and that leaves this opportunity for Ty to turn it into big yards.
That's right. And he's just going to continue, you know, Jimmy, they're going to, you know, they better give him some attention. There you can see a block by number 53. That's going to be one of our guests here in a little bit, Savion Adams. Savion's another one of those that's like Josh Campbell, that's just because his motor runs all the time. He's not, he's a big old, he's been tight end wide receiver, but we put him at a tackle and he's got room to grow. He's 6'3", almost 6'4", and he did a great job for this the other night, and we moved some people around the offensive line. Big block by, again, the guy that's probably our most valuable player right now. With Colton Edwards, and it's that big, and this basically put it out of the way because we was up by 4 at that point. Now it's put us up by 11, and the good thing is we just continue. Here's a little trick play of ours. There's Jordan Bradley, our backup quarterback. Great job.
I thought David was going to take it to the house, but those legs just couldn't turn quite fast
Timmons
enough.
was sure trying hard there, and then this kind of just finalized it. It also gave us our 15 points, which really, again, is so vital. We hope we don't get it. As long as we continue to win, we won't have to worry about it, but you just never know when you're going to have to. And there comes Campbell again. Campbell was our defensive player of the game, and Jimmy was our offensive player of the game, and both just played, well, the whole team played fantastic, and just it was a big win for us.
45-27 was the final score for the Roughers to go 2-0 in the league play. A crucial game coming up this Friday night. A little bit later on in our program, Coach and I will talk about the showdown Friday night at Sapulpa. But before we do, we're going to step aside, come back, and give you a chance to meet one of those whatever it takes guys. He trades his one jersey for an offensive lineman's number and makes an immediate difference. Savion Adams will be our guest when we return here on TV 15.
Our mobile apps are taking the country by storm, and none more. These apps are the home base for your school's athletic needs.
Welcome back on TV 15. BiIl Huddleston along with the coach of the Roughers, Rafe, Watkins. And Coach, game plans often mean changes and filling in situations where perhaps injuries or just the need for more talent creates an opportunity. And for the young man between us, Savion Adams, here's the guy that has traded in his jersey number 8 to go full-time in the offensive line wearing 53.
Well, and you appreciate that because, he goes from a receiver spot, which everybody thinks is kind of one of those glamour spots, but to volunteering to be on the offensive line. But after the Ponca City game, we knew we had to make some changes, shuffle some stuff around. Our zone game was working pretty good inside, but we couldn't get anything to the outside to speak of unless Jimmy just created on his own. So we was able to get Savion, who does a great job blocking. I tell you, this is how drills and how hard work will. We have this drill called LSU drill that's really a defensive drill.
Right.
Coach Sexton and them do it. But we found that he could block really well in that because of the guys that they're coming off and they're supposed to be using a rip technique, and they couldn't ever rip off Savion. So Coach Medrano said, we're going to put Savion as a tackle and see what we can do. And, he's not the prototypical. He's at the height.
Yes.
He's going to still get to fill out. He's going to have some fun in the next year and a half getting to eat all he wants and getting filled out. But he did an outstanding job the other night. And, the reason we put Savion there, one, he's a hard worker. He has no ego. He just wants to play.
Sure.
And so he was able to do that. Very intelligent young man, was able to pick it up in a week. And there's still stuff, obviously, he's got to do. But it's just all raw talent. But the other night, as you watched it, we wore him down in the second half, and a lot of it was due to Savion.
Well, let's get to know what's going through the mind of this tight end glamour guy, turn hand on the ground, get nasty with it. When Coach came to you and said, Savion, would you mind playing on the offensive line? What went through your mind? Tell me what was going on in your thought process.
What happened was I said, dang, my number 8 got to be gone, but I helped the team.
I think that probably hurt him worse than anything, giving up his number 8 to get a 53 number.
Yeah. Now, when they handed you the 53, though, did it feel a little bit comfortable?
It was comfortable.
It was comfortable
Loose
because
and
it do what?
Loose and baggy.
Loose and baggy.
Yes,
Well, now you've switched over to the offensive line. What's been the most difficult thing for you? Like Coach mentioned, you're not the prototypical body style of an offensive lineman. The height is there, but you're going to get to grow a little bit into those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what's been the toughest thing for you.
Toughest thing for me right now is blocking them big boys.
Blocking the big boys.
I can do it, but it's a little challenging at times.
Now, Coach was talking about also trying to get out in front and on the stretch and get out there and move those guys out of the way. What are you looking for when you come out of your position there on the offensive line?
What I'm looking for is I'm trying to create a big enough hole for Jimmy to go through so he can do what he needs to do.
And it doesn't take much of a hole, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Are you enjoying yourself? I mean, is this a lot of fun? Because now you're involved in every single play.
I'm having tons of fun right now.
Obviously, Coach, he made a big difference last Friday night, and I know there's great expectations for this young man. If he grows body-wise and to fit his feet, which just looking down, you can't see those, but it's a size 13, and that might be cramming the toes inside there. Let me ask you, here at the school, you got a favorite teacher? Got a favorite class you enjoy the most?
I love my office aides so far.
Office? Well, obviously that's a lot of fun,
Pretty
too.
challenging class.
Yes, it is. But like Coach said, he's not a guy that has much of an ego. He doesn't speak a whole lot. When Coach says that you're just a mild-mannered guy, tell me, who is this Savion Adams? Because everybody wants to know, how do you pronounce his name? Well, what do we know about you?
First, it's Savion. Lots of people say Savion, Savon, Savion.
Savion?
Yes. I don't have a huge ego at all. I do what's best for the team. I don't put myself first in many situations.
That's why we call it a team, Coach.
That's right, and that's why this team's getting better all the time, because we don't have egos on it right now, and they're all wanting what's best for the team, and Savion is certainly a leader of that and showing what he was able to do last week. And again, the sky's the limit. He's only going to get better.
Well, when you look at the roster in the program, it's going to have the number 8, but because of the changes, look for this guy. He'll be wearing 53, and he'll be putting that opposing defensive lineman or linebacker on their backside each and every snap of the football. Savion Adams. Got it right?
Yes, sir.
Savion Adams is our guest here in this segment. When we come back, Coach and I will talk about this Friday night's game against Ponca, right after this timeout here on TV 15.
Our mobile apps are taking the country by storm, and none more than our fully customizable apps. Available in the App Store and Google Play, these apps are the home base for your school's athletic needs.
Back on TV 15, BiIl Huddleston with the coach, the Ruffers, Rafe, Watkins. And Coach, when the season all began looking at district play, there were 2 teams that were obviously at the top, the defending state champion, Booker T. Washington Hornets, and the Bixby Spartans. But I don't think most people expected Muskogee nor Shawnee to be the 2 other unbeaten teams along with Bixby going into week 3.
Well, you know, you never can tell on that stuff. Well, you know, it was like you said, a toss-up between Bixby and Booker T. You had to go with Booker T with being the defending champion. They're the champion until somebody dethrones them. Of course, Bixby beats them this week, 21-7. And then, you know, with us and Shawnee, we're where we would like to think we were going to be,
Sure.
You know, but you just never know. But the team that I said was going to be the surprise in this district was Ponca. I picked them all along to be 4th in the district in all the polls that we predicted in. And, you know, they're holding up their end of the bargain. They're 1-1, but the one loss being to Bixby, so there's no shame in that. They had a shootout this last week with Bartlesville up there. I think it was 62-58 or 63-58.
Right.
And, you know, as we're talking about them, they have a great offensive group. They're good defensively, too. I have to give credit to Bartlesville for a great game plan, but they're a good football team.
Certainly it looked like it was just more of a basketball score than a football score, but like you said, with Williams at quarterback and a couple of other running backs, this is an offense that can not only pound it on the ground, but then they can put it over the top.
Well, Eli Williams is 6'5" and probably weighs about 225. Big, good-looking kid. You know, his brother plays at Louisville, Day Williams,
right,
and was the running back for them. And this kid's a junior, and he's been starting since his freshman year, and he is a tremendous athlete. He's hard to bring down, very elusive, and he's got a great arm. And, you know, he actually, in the Bixby game, has about 5 or 6 drops. He throws it so hard, and it was that wet night,
right,
and so the kids had a hard time receiving. They had their linebacker at tailback number 6 during that game for a little more pounding, but last week they turned their sophomore loose, which I remember him as a freshman last year, and he's not real big. He reminds me of Kyrie Beasley. I mean, he's a little bit bigger than Kyrie,
sure,
but the way he runs and spins and his feet never quit moving, he's like a little pinball in there just bouncing around. But he is dangerous as a wide receiver and then in the backfield, and had over 300 yards of all-purpose yards and over 3 or 4 touchdowns last week against Bartlesville. So we've got our work cut out for us defensively. They're a very good offensive football team. And then, of course, Coach Borstadt used to be the defensive coordinator, right, at Sand Springs. So, you know, defensive mind-wise, he's going to have those guys more prepared than what they were at Bartlesville.
Absolutely. And Coach talked about the importance of this ball game because a win, Rafe, would give you 3 wins in the district, 3-0 heading into the last 4 games of the year. can't be in any better spot.
Well, if you're 3-0 right there, you know, realistically to make the playoffs, you got to win 2 of the next 4, and you're probably in guaranteed unless there's just some crazy points. If there's some upsets in there somewhere that you don't see. The next week we play Shawnee, which they play Booker T this week. You'd probably figure that Booker T is going to beat them, so they should have the 1 loss, and that would make us, if we can win this ball game, the only 2 undefeated teams with us and Bixby. So, you know, we realize we've got a long road ahead of us still. We've been playing it 1 game at a time because that's all we can do. We're not good enough to look ahead and say, hey, can't wait for that fall break game with Booker T. You know, I wish we were, but we're not. We got to just look each week, and that's why we've been getting better. We prepare each week and playing hard, and boy, I hope that last week was not a mirage. I hope it's showing that we truly are getting better in everything that we do, and some of the changes that we've made, and the kids are working so hard, and we get 2 kids back off of injury this week with Isaiah Givens coming back and Caleb Webb, and those are 2 very vital to us defensively. And the kids that came in their spots, as we said earlier with Josh Campbell, couldn't ask for more than that, than what he was able to give us. And so I'm just really proud of our overall team right now. There's not any selfishness. They're all into whatever the team is, and that's the main thing.
Well, the old adage is it takes a village. Well, it takes a team, and it takes everybody. Whether it was our guest this week, Savion Adams, trading his number 8 in to wear the offensive lineman number 53 and make a difference on every snap of the football, whoever it is, just picking up their responsibilities and making it happen. Speaking of responsibilities, Coach, we got some fans that have some responsibilities Friday night because it'll be key to have a huge turnout of Rougher fans at Sapulpa.
It will be. We need to have, and we had a great crowd the other night at Sand Springs. I couldn't be more proud of them. You know, the band came. We got 100 strong there. Our fans were there, and we had a great crowd. And that is that people don't realize that those kids, you know, hear a lot of that and the rowdiness, and we need to have a big crowd there because this is a big game. Both teams 4-1 on the year, and I think that, I don't know, I think we're ranked 6th and they're 8th or something along that line. So it's a big game for us, and we need the support.
Certainly going to be a big ball game, 7 o'clock Friday night in Sapulpa. If there's some reason that you can't go, you can follow the action online. You can tune in at MuskogeeAthletics.com. There'll be an easy click and join the game broadcast. Myself, Nick Hampton, and our Rougher TV crew that does such an outstanding job. Bringing you the sights and sounds of Rougher football again this Friday night at Sapulpa. Coach, until next week, keep my fingers crossed that the Roughers go 3-0.
That's what we're shooting for.
Absolutely. We'll talk about more Muskogee Rougher football success when we join you next week right here on TV 15.